Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kendraa Anett, and today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. I haven't been on here in a while, just me and you guys. It feels like it's been a lot of partying, drinking, going out, you know, not a lot of just let's sit down and talk. I'm trying to find like a good place to put you guys. So since the last time that since Valentine's Day, I got a ring light. So I'm trying the tripod and the ring light to see how that works out. But so today I did want to talk about my labor and delivery story with Elias. I did have one of the scariest experiences ever, and because of it, I do always tell people, like, I don't know if I want another kid. Like, they did tell me that my next kid would most likely be a C-section as well. And I don't know, I'm nervous, I'm scared. Like, it was the worst experience ever. Like, I don't know if I could do it again. So yeah, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. So it all started, let me see the date. So my due date was actually August 3rd, right? And I went to a doctor's appointment that day. They checked me and they were like, no, you seem fine still. We're gonna see like if your body will do what it needs to do. And it was already like a month before I had Elias. They were checking me to see if I had dilated at all, and nothing. Like, I was still at a 0. So on August 3rd, 2016, I went to a doctor's appointment. It was also my due date that day, and I wasn't dilated at all. Like, still nothing. But I was cramping really, really bad, and I already had like actual contractions. And I went in there, and I had already gone to the hospital like a few times before that, and I was like, dude, like, I can't handle the pain, something doesn't feel right. So on my due date, I went to my appointment and I couldn't feel my child move, like, at all. And I was like, dude, like, this isn't okay, like, this isn't right, like, I don't know what happened or what. And then the nurse was like, oh, drink some orange juice, drink something sweet, and if that doesn't work, then we'll set up another appointment and see, like, because by then I was doing like a week, so like every week I would go to the doctor's. And I was like, well, it just doesn't seem right. Like, it's my first time like being pregnant, and I was going into the doctors for like anything and everything, and overall, like, my pregnancy was not the best. Like, I had a lot of complications. So I went August 3rd like to a regular checkup, and then she scheduled my next appointment, and then ended up like just telling me that I just need to wait, you know, like, my body is going to do what it's meant to do. Like, everybody goes through this. So then the following week, I went to the doctor's on August 12th, and I went to the doctor's that following Wednesday. So it would have been the 10th. I'm pretty sure August 10th. Yeah. So on August 10th, I went to the doctor's, dude, and they had to reschedule because my doctor went on vacation and wasn't there, and nobody else could like help me out. So I ended up rescheduling it to that Friday. And when I went into a new doctor, and then she was like, well, it's not normal for your baby not to be moving. Like, I understand that your baby runs out of space, but like, that's not okay. So they did like the non-stress tests and stuff, and like, we're trying to see like if they can get an ultrasound to see like what was wrong with the baby. And then that's when I didn't pass a non-stress test, so then they held me there for like 15 minutes, and then again I did not pass the non-stress test again. And so they were like, okay, you know what, we're gonna call the hospital, and if it's not too busy, we're gonna see if you can go in, because something is not right. And I was starting to freak out. I was like, dude, like, what? Like, what do you mean something's not right? Like, I had already been there for the past 2 weeks telling them, like, dude, like, I feel like this and that, and like, I feel like there's something wrong with my baby. And like, they kept telling me, like, my doctor kept blowing it off, you know, like saying like, no, there's nothing wrong and this and that. So she got off of the phone with the hospital, and the hospital was like, hey, you need to go, like, don't even go home and get your bags, don't do anything, like, go straight to the hospital. So I started freaking out. I started, like, calling my family and everything and letting them know that I needed to go to the hospital. So when I went to the hospital, like, there was nobody there, like, just me. Like, they didn't have anybody else giving, like, birth. Hold on, because these days I've been running out of breath all the time. So yeah, there was nobody in the hospital. I was the only person going into labor. And that's that I didn't even know, like, I was about to go into labor. Like, I didn't know what was going on, to be honest. So I went to the hospital and they gave me, like, the biggest room that they have. And there was, like, balloons. There was, like, a banner that said, like, welcome. And I was, like, getting, like, VIP. I swear, like, because I already I knew the process because I went when my mom was having my little sister. And, they did not give her a room that big. And, so when I was there, like, they hooked up the machines to my stomach. And, they were just really, really nice. Right? Like, overly nice. And I was like, okay, like, I'm glad that you guys are being nice, but, like, nobody is telling me, like, what is going on. So I got there really early. It was like I always made my appointment super early. So I was there by I think it was like 10. And they gave me they asked me what I wanted to eat. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, because I thought that you couldn't, like, I already had read all the baby books and stuff when I heard, like, you can't eat, like, because of the possibility that you're gonna have a C-section, or the possibility that you'll use a restroom. TMI, but yeah, like, that happens. So I was like, what do you mean? And I was waiting for my mom to get there, and at the time my mom had a little Amber wasn't even, I don't even think she had just turned a year. Yeah, because they're only like a year and 2 weeks apart. So my little sister Amber had just turned 1, and my mom didn't have a babysitter. She was waiting for my stepdad to get off of work so he could take care of my little sister while my mom went. So I called my mom and I was like, dude, they're asking me if I want to eat. And also at this time, my child's father did not go to any appointments with me. Like, his sister was actually the one that was always in all of my appointments. Like, I never had to ask her for anything. Like, she was always there. Like, and so yeah, my child's father wasn't there, and then he was waiting to see, like, if I was gonna stay there or what was gonna happen, because I did have a lot of, like, false times where I would go to the hospital and they would just send me home. And yeah, when they gave me my own room and stuff, and they told me that they were going to induce me, when they told me they were gonna induce me, they also said, like, hey, you have, like, a free meal, like, anything you want. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I thought I couldn't eat. And they're like, no, yeah, like, we want you to eat. Like, sit down, tell us what you want, make a list of what you want, and we'll order it. And I was like, what the heck? Like, that's really weird, but whatever. I was not complaining because it was really early in the morning and I hadn't ate. So I was like, yeah, I'll order something. So I ordered Pizza Hut and Wing Shack, and the hospital paid for it. They gave me, yeah, they brought the food and then I ate. And then my mom got there and she was really mad. She was like, dude, like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be eating. Like, have they not told you, like, that you can't eat before you give birth? And I was like, well, no, they're the ones that told me to order something, like. And so I ate, and then after I ate, the lady came in and she was just checking, and then she was like, she would look at, like, my contractions, and she was like, yeah, it looks like you're contracting, but let me see if you're dilated. So they checked and I was, like, at a 1. And she was like, dude, you're like a 1. But to be honest, like, it's more like a 0 still. And I was already 41 weeks at this, like, August 12th was the day that I went in there. And that's the day that I was already, 21 weeks. Yeah, I was about almost 21, what the hell? I was almost 42 weeks, like, at this point. And I was like, so how do I get induced? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I already had watched so many YouTube videos. I already had scared myself. Like, I already knew everything that, the ways that to get induced. And then she's like, well, we're just gonna put something in through your IV, and then we're gonna put like a little pill inside of you, and let's see if that will work. So like 2 hours into that, like I started feeling like really bad contractions. And my mom was there, and I was like, dude, I can't take the pain. And then they came in and they're like, dude, your oxygen levels are really low, so we're gonna have to put you on oxygen. And I was like, okay. Like, I got on oxygen, and by this time it was already, they started the process like at 2, and it was already 4. Yeah, it was like already 4, and they put me on oxygen and stuff, and they told me that I needed to lay like on my right side. My mom was rubbing my back the whole time, and it was like really scary. And then like an hour after that, the nurse comes in. So they tried to tell me that my oxygen levels were really low. And then an hour later, they came back in and they told me that I wasn't the one that's oxygen was going down, that it was actually my baby's. And that they needed to schedule an ultrasound to see what was going on, because the contractions were making his oxygen drop, and they just wanted to be sure what was going on, and they wanted like a real answer on what was going on, you know. So they got an ultrasound in there. Like 20 minutes later, she started doing the ultrasound, and she wasn't telling us anything. Like, she wasn't even talking, she wasn't saying anything like at all. And I was like, dude, what the hell? Like, and dude, mind you, this whole entire time, like, nobody set me up like to get induced or anything, because my my doctor was on vacation. So nobody, like, they kind of just forgot like all about me. So I think that's why I was like, they were being overly nice at the hospital, but I don't know. And then I asked the girl that was doing the ultrasound, I was like, dude, is everything okay? Like, can you just give us like any answers? And then she's like, well, I can't give you any answers. Like, your nurse is gonna have to tell you like what's going on. And I was like, dude, what the hell? Like, that's fucking weird, right? Like, I was like, well, that's fucking rude. And when the nurse came back in, she was like, oh, okay, like, how are you feeling? Do you need anything else? Like, do you need to get up and use the restroom? Do you feel like walking around? And I was like, no, like, I'm in a lot of pain. My mom was rubbing my back, and she was like, okay, I'll be right back. And she left, and then she came in with 4 nurses, dude, and like they had like a fucking clipboard. And then they were like, well, we need to tell you something. And then I was like, that's when like I knew, like, I knew there was something wrong. And I was like, what happened? Like, how weird, you know? And they're like, well, we're gonna have to do a C-section. And then I was like, what? Like, why? What happened? Like, and they're like, well, your body's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. We tried to induce you, and your contractions are affecting the baby. We don't know what's wrong. We already looked at the ultrasound. Your baby is breech, meaning he was face up. So regardless, like, I wasn't gonna, either they were gonna try to turn him and I was gonna have a natural birth, or I was just gonna have a C-section. But they said that they didn't even have enough time to try to turn him around and try to see if I had any options to do natural. They pretty much didn't even give me the option. So I was like, yeah, like, whatever's gonna work for the baby, you know. Like, at this point, like, I just want the baby out. Like, I'm already almost 42 weeks. Like, I haven't felt my child move in so long. Like, I just felt like deep down inside, like, that there was something wrong. So I signed the papers that I would do a C-section, and then they made me sign 2 papers, another paper, and they're like, okay, like, if worst comes to worst, like, we can, and it comes down to it, like, who would you want to get saved? And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, like, you're really at high risk. Like, we don't know what's going on with your baby. Like, they were trying to calm me down, and I just started crying. And I was like, well, that's like hard. Like, I don't even know. Like, so I signed I signed for the baby, you know. And then they got somebody to come in, and they wanted to make sure that my entire stomach and lower vaginal area were all completely shaved. So they brought somebody to completely shave like everything. I went to go use the restroom, and when I came back, they had like my outfit already. I had to take my bra off due to like the wiring. So I remember I was like getting completely naked, and they were getting me ready, and I walked down to like the C-section room, and I remember I was just crying. Like, I was crying really, really bad. Like, I didn't know, it was the first time like having a baby, and then overall like the experience that I was having was just really, really rough. So we got into the room, and I remember it was just me and my child's father, because they also told me that only one person can go in there with me. And I really wanted my mom in there, but I knew like I couldn't be selfish, because it could have been the other way around, you know. And I went in there first, and then they sat me down on this bed, and they're like, what kind of music do you like? And then at the time I was like, oh, well, I was really into country, and I was like, well, country. And then they put a country playlist on, and they were trying to get me to calm down, because I was literally having like an anxiety attack. Like, I was breathing really, really fast, like I couldn't catch my breath, and I was just freaking out. So I remember that they gave me like the shot, but it wasn't, I don't think it's an epidural, to be honest. I think it's like something stronger than an epidural, because it like from here down you can't move your hands or anything. So they gave it to me, and then I laid down, and then I remember that's when my child's father came in, and they were like, okay, we're gonna get it started, like, move your feet. And I couldn't move that. Like, I thought I was moving them, but obviously I wasn't. And then they put like a towel here. It's not a towel, but like I couldn't see like anything from here down, so I couldn't see like what they were doing or like what they were cutting, right? And I remember they're like, well, if everything goes good and your baby, like everything's good with your baby, we'll just give him to you. And I was like, okay, then sounds good, because they'll put him like right here. Like, even though you're laying down, they still give him to you right here, right? And I was like, okay, then, yeah, sounds good. So I remember like they said like he was born at 10:44, and they're like in the night PM, and they're like 10:44, and I was like I didn't hear a cry or anything. And then I remember they said like, if everything's okay, we'll just give him to you. And I didn't hear anything, like, and then I just heard like everybody running and moving around, and I was like, well, like, what's happening? And then the nurse is like, she was just like petting my hair, and she was like, it's okay, like, you just need to calm down, like, we're almost done. And then I was like, what's wrong with the baby? And then like, dude, my child's father wouldn't fucking move or anything. And I was like, dude, go check, like, what happened? And then they went, and they told us that he had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck, and that he wasn't breathing. So I was like, oh my god, and I started freaking out and crying. Like, I remember like I couldn't talk, like I would just had tears rolling down my face. And then when they took like the umbilical cord from his neck off, and then they picked him up and showed him to me, he was like super purple, and then he would like he caught a breath, and he turned pale. Like, he was the whitest kid ever. And I was like, oh my god, like I still couldn't talk. Like, I just like all these emotions and feelings running through my body. It was so weird. And he looked so big too. And then they were like, oh my god, like we can't believe he made it. And then I was like, what do you, like, at this point I was like freaking out, and I was like, what do you mean? And then before they cut his umbilical cord, they showed that he had a knot in his in the umbilical cord. So I don't know like what happened. He like turned and he caused a knot. So he was no longer getting any food and he was getting very low oxygen. That's why when I was having contractions, he was not able to breathe. And I actually did get a picture of the knot. I'll put it somewhere here. So you guys can also see like what I'm talking about. And when they took the knot, they cut it off, and yeah, they gave us like our baby, and then after they put me like into like a recovery room where they had like these things on my feet like that. It was kind of just like making sure I didn't get any blood clots. And I remember like then I was so drugged up, like I just started puking like bad. I was throwing up, and while I was throwing up I could feel my insides like pulling on each other since they had just stitched me. I had staples, and I could feel that they were like, my insides were pulling apart. And to be honest, I got out of there like at 3 in the morning. Yeah, and my whole family was still waiting and everything, and they took us to like, after the recovery room, they took us to like a postpartum room, and I still wasn't like fully like awake, or like I didn't know what was going on yet really. Like I knew I had my baby, but I was so drugged that I wanted really, like, it sounds really bad, but I just wanted to sleep. Like I was just so tired, and like I wasn't feeling that good, and all I was doing was throwing up. I couldn't even drink water. Like I was puking so bad. So I fell asleep, and then I didn't wait, and this was like 3 in the morning, and I woke up like at 7 in the morning, and that's when I realized I had a baby. Like I'm not even kidding you. Like the whole everything wore away. The pain, the meds, everything, like it all went apart. And I was like, where's the baby? Like, because he wasn't in the little bassinet thing, and I was like, where the, like, what happened? Like I was so lost. I was like, what happened to the baby? And his dad was actually feeding him a bottle, like, because I was so drugged up, and like I couldn't even breastfeed. Like I don't even remember like when they put my son right here when at 3 in the morning when we went to the postpartum room. Like I don't remember any of it. Like I just remember like I was dozing off, I was throwing up. So at 7 in the morning is when like I finally got to hold my baby, and I remembered everything. And right away, dude, I was trying to get up and use the restroom and like walk around and stuff, and they're like, no, like you need to chill out, like you can't move yet. And I didn't even, yeah, it was 24 hours. So 24 hours later is when like I was able to get up and use the restroom by myself, and then I got to take a shower. But they told me only my hair and to scrub around my body, but do not scratch the C-section, or don't like wash it. So when I was like showering, I realized that I had it, and I started freaking out. Like, dude, they had to pull me out of the shower. Like I was so scared. I didn't even finish showering. I started just freaking out. And yeah, but I'm really happy that I got a beautiful baby boy out of it. I don't know if I could ever do it again, to be honest. And it sucks because like a lot of people do ask me like, do you and Carlos not want kids together? And I'm like, yeah, like I do, and I know he does, but like it's scary. Like it's really, really scary. Like everything a woman has to go through like to have a baby is really scary, you know? So I don't know like if I would be willing to do it again. It's a very scary experience. I don't know if I would do it again. But it's officially been 4 years since then, and this is what I got out of that. Say hi, Elias.
Hi.
What's your name?
Elias.
What's your last name?
Elias Garcia.
How old are you?
4.
Are you nervous? Say hi.
Hi.
So I'm happy, I guess, that I went through all of that, and I got a pain in the butt kid. Because he is a pain in the butt, right? Yeah, you are. No. Well, thank you guys so much for joining my vlog today. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe to my channel. And I am down for any recommendations. Please comment them down below. I've just kind of been like going with the flow really. And yeah. Say bye, Elias.
Bye.